Hello there. We're back with another reaction video, this time to Google I/O announcements. We're going to run through a quick 10-minute summary that Google has put out that kind of captures a lot of the key highlights, and we'll stop and start and let you know what we think. Here we go. Okay. And we're off.
At Google, we are fully in our Gemini era. Today, all of our 2 billion user products use Gemini. Gemini 1.5 Pro is available today in Workspace Labs. Let's see how this comes to life.
How many billion?
They said 1.5, right? Yeah.
Compared to 100 million.
Yeah.
I've lost track of how many decimal points difference there, how many zeros difference there are.
That means that there's 15 times the number of people who have Gemini available to them, at least, versus the number of people using ChatGPT. Good catch. Yep.
Life with Google Workspace. People are always searching their emails in Gmail. We are working to make it much more powerful with Gemini. Now we can ask Gemini to summarize all recent emails from the school. Maybe you were traveling this week and you couldn't make the PTA meeting. The recording of the meeting is an hour long. If it's from Google Meet, you can ask Gemini to give you the highlights. People love using photos.
Okay, so first off, that is an example that shows that the people who designed this demo are parents, and they're overwhelmed with the number of emails
from the schools
and how long those meetings are.
So, yeah, it's interesting, right? It used to be that please tell the school to not send so many emails, Hamlin.
Yeah.
And now it's solved at a different point in the chain.
Yeah, and if you watched our earlier video with the OpenAI announcement, it sure felt like the story. The tell me a bedtime story was actually devised by non-parents. This is clearly parents, and neither one of those is good or bad. It's kind of an interesting reflection of the people that are creating the demos.
To search across their life. With Gemini, you're making that a whole lot easier. And Ask Photos can also help you search your memories in a deeper way. For example, you might be reminiscing about your daughter Lucia's early milestones. You can ask Photos, show me how Lucia's swimming has progressed. Here, Gemini goes beyond a simple search, recognizing different contexts, and Photos packages it up all together in a summary.
I would imagine that this is something that we'll see coming from Apple as well. I mean, they're teed up for this. Really interesting to see the two different companies and how they work with this, but there's so much interesting stuff in Photos. Once you've been using these, a phone for so long, you have an extraordinary amount, and this is a really, really useful way of using generative AI. Help me find things, help me pull together the right memories, and help me create something interesting with it.
Yeah,
great. It's awesome.
I think this is really going to be wonderful.
And you've already actively contributed these photos into a cloud, and there is no reason why those images and the analysis of them and the understanding of them and the recreating new videos or whatever you're going to create out of them can't also be held in your own private instance, right? And on the iPhone, it would be in the secure enclave. It could be there.
Unlocking knowledge across formats is why we built Gemini to be multimodal from the ground up. It's one model with all the modalities built in. We've been rolling out Gemini 1.5 Pro with long context in preview over the last few months. So today, we are expanding the context window to 2 million tokens.
That's a lot of tokens. It was only not that long ago that everybody was going crazy over 128,000 tokens. We've now gone up to 2 million tokens. It's a huge increase.
Yeah,
pushing.
You have to appreciate for a moment how scientifically that this has happened, which is learning that the context window itself is where some learning happens.
Yeah,
that's why it's called in-context learning. And Google has released significant research, just sort of in a regular cadence, about how the context window is used for different modes of learning. So this one is not necessarily all that surprising because it's an obvious place to go, but it's amazing how in just a year, this context window is just an extraordinary amount of information.
Yeah.
So far, we have talked about two technical advances, multimodality and long context. Each is powerful on its own, but together they unlock deeper capabilities and more intelligence. But what if we could go even further? That's one of the opportunities we see with AI agents. I think about them as intelligent systems that show reasoning, planning, and memory, are able to think multiple steps ahead, work across software and systems, all to get something done on your behalf. And most
the thing that sort of captures me here is the think multiple steps ahead, right? So hearing people talk about agents as reasoning, planning, and memory, working across software systems, et cetera. But Google's really putting themselves out there, I think, with this, thinking multiple steps ahead. And I'll be really interested to see where some of the research comes that where they're working on that anticipatory step.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back to the very early work that the pair researchers did, the people for AI and people in AI at Google, and they put out how essentially how to design for machine learning applications, and it was sort of the early stages of human-centered AI, and all of that research was really fantastic resources for people designing AI systems. And this before generative AI, that's now been updated for generative AI. But what you can see in that back in, I don't know, we were using it in 2018 or something 2019.
Like that.
That what you can see in that is you can see the process of understanding where anything AI was going to go, which was to some form of agentic step through reasoning, multiple tasks. And they've recently updated that platform. They're also put out their agentic AI assistants. Microsoft put out their work on AI agents. This has been latent for quite a long time, and it's one of the reasons that this month has been agentic AI for us, because it was pretty clear it was going to start being a thing. Yeah. But when you see it at I/O as one of the on stage things being talked about, this is now the point that Google clearly is ready to commit to this. And once Google is ready to commit to it, that means that the web is ready to commit to it. So this is a really important moment in time.
Most importantly, under your supervision.
Today, we have some exciting new progress to share about the future of AI assistants that we're calling Project Astra. For a long time, we've wanted to build a universal AI agent that can be truly helpful in everyday life. Here's a video of our prototype, which we'll see has two parts. Each part was captured in a single take in real time.
What does that part of the code do?
This code defines encryption and decryption functions.
What?
I'm still astounded that this is the example they show. So just to put this in, so this is somebody walking around the office. This is actually the London DeepMind office, or the DeepMind office in London. And somebody's walking around with a phone and videoing and talking to Astra and walking up behind somebody's computer with code on it. And the example they show is encryption, decryption, which is just astounding that it's like, this is the biggest security leak possibility ever, because it's so useful and it's so easy to go around with your phone and capture all of this data. And then it's up in the cloud and it's been handed off. We've seen this so many times over the last week, and I'm still just.
It's fantastic to show it to people. I mean, we were at a conference this week and we like literally took screenshots, put them into ChatGPT and put them up on the board and said, where's the chief security officer?
Yeah. And there was a VP of IT standing there, and she went a bit white watching this.
Yeah. People literally gathered around the screen.
Yeah.
It seems to use AESCBC encryption to encode and decode data based on a key and an initialization vector.
Based on the fact that I know what office I'm in.
Do you remember where you saw my glasses?
Yes, I do. Your glasses were on the desk near a red apple.
Now that's useful. Where are my car keys?
But it also it's remembering where your glasses are. What else is it remembering about where everything else is? Right? I mean, there's a lot here to just really take in, to say these things are seeing and remembering, and all of that data is being captured where? At the moment, this is all cloud-based, content. And so what does that mean?
Well, and also for other people. I mean, there's if you're wearing some of those glasses with the cameras, or you're wearing a humane pin or something, people look at you and go, oh, wearing a humane pin. But no one's going to look twice at anyone who's holding their phone up.
No.
Give me a band name for this duo.
Oh, the golden.
There has to be a golden retriever. I'm sorry.
Golden
You're
stripes.
going to cry a little bit?
Nice.
Maybe
Thanks,
a little,
Gemini.
Just a
little
teeny
teeny.
weep.
We're introducing Gemini 1.5 Flash. Flash is a lighter weight model compared to
Hearts
Pro.
out to all my old
It's
Macromedia
designed to be
friends. Yes,
fast
the
and
name Flash has
cost-efficient
come
to
back,
serve
but
at
it's not
scale,
ours anymore.
while still featuring multimodal reasoning capabilities and breakthrough long context. There's one more area I'm really excited to share with you. Our teams have made some incredible progress in generative video. Today, I'm excited to announce our newest, most capable generative video model called VO. VO creates high-quality 1080p videos from text, image, and video prompts. It can capture the details of your instructions in different visual and cinematic styles.
For 25 years, we have invested in world-class technical infrastructure. Today, we are excited to announce the 6th generation of TPUs called Trillium. Trillium delivers a 4.7x improvement in compute performance per chip over the previous generation.
Those kinds of numbers kind of blow past you faster. It's been going on for however long, 40 years, but that's a big step up. 4.7 times is a big step up, and this is a huge advantage that Google has, having the TPU set.
Google Search is generative AI at the scale of human curiosity, and it's our most exciting chapter of search yet.
All the advancements you'll see today are made possible by a new Gemini model, customized for Google Search. What really sets this apart is our 3 unique strengths. This is search in the Gemini era. By the end of the year, AI overviews will come to over 1 billion people. We're making AI overviews even more helpful for your most complex questions, the type that are really more like 10 questions in one. You can ask your entire question with all its sub-questions and get an AI overview in seconds. I'm really excited to share that soon you'll be able to ask questions with video.
Why will this not stay in place? And in a near instant, Google gives me an AI overview. I guess some reasons this might be happening and steps I can take to troubleshoot.
Since last May, we've been hard at work making Gemini for Workspace even more helpful for businesses and consumers across the world. Now, I can simply type out my question right here in the mobile card and say something like, compare my roof repair bids by price and availability. This new Q&A feature makes it so easy to get quick answers on anything in my inbox.
Today, we'll show you how Gemini is delivering our most intelligent AI experience. We're rolling out a new feature that lets you customize it for your own needs and create personal experts on any topic you want. We're calling these gems. They're really simple to set up. Just tap to create a gem, write your instructions once, and come back whenever you need it. Starting today, Gemini Advanced subscribers get access to Gemini 1.5 Pro with 1 million tokens. That is the longest context window of any chatbot in the world. You can upload a PDF up to 1,500 pages long, or multiple files to get insights across a project. Now, we all know that chatbots can give you ideas for your next vacation, but there's a lot more that goes into planning a great trip. It requires reasoning that considers space, time logistics, and the intelligence to prioritize and make decisions. That reasoning and intelligence all come together in the new trip planning experience in Gemini Advanced.
We've embarked on a multi-year journey.
It feels like We were a bit prescient on this one. We talked about this with one of our travel clients recently, just a few months ago, and the ability to use generative AI for trip planning is pretty awesome. I mean, it's all over the place. Everywhere there's news articles about it because everybody's getting ready for their summer vacations and everybody's got these kinds of tools. The interesting part and the advantage that Google has is the number of touch points they have in terms of where the trip planning information is. It's sitting in your text, it's sitting in your emails, it's where you're searching on the web, it's where you store your receipts, it's writing an itinerary in Google Docs, keeping track of expenses in Google Sheets. All of those things are happening in all of those Google touch points, and Gemini will be sitting in all of those.
Yeah, and building a different kind of profile of you as an individual.
Yeah.
To reimagine Android with AI at the core.
Now, we're making Gemini context aware, so it can anticipate what you're trying to do and provide more helpful suggestions in the moment. Let me show you how this works. So my friend Pete is asking if I want to play pickleball this weekend, but I'm new to this pickleball thing, and I can bring up Gemini to help with that. Gemini knows I'm looking at a video, so it proactively shows me an Ask This Video chip. So let me tap on that. And now I can ask specific questions about the video. So for example, what is the 2-bounce rule? So give it a moment, and there. I get a nice, succinct answer. Starting with Pixel later this year, we'll be expanding what's possible with our latest model, Gemini Nano with multimodality. This means your phone can understand the world the way you understand it. So not just through text input, but also through sights, sounds, and spoken language.
Now let's shift gears and talk about Gemma, our family of open models, which are crucial for driving AI innovation and responsibility. Today's newest member, PolyGemma, our first vision language open model, and it's available right now. I'm also excited to announce that we have Gemma 2 coming. It's the next generation of Gemma, and it will be available in June. So in a few weeks, we'll be adding a new 27 billion parameter model to Gemma 2.
To us.
So this is all actually pretty, there's a lot in this packed 10 minutes. So just going to back up on a couple of them. Gems. And GPTs, they had 1 million people in OpenAI and ChatGPT had built GPTs, which is quite a few people, but compared to the 100 million users, it's nothing. And GPTs are a serious power law.
Yeah,
there's a few that are pretty useful that people use, but on the whole, most of them are pretty mediocre and they don't really mean anything. But I still think that what's happening with these GPTs or gems is the usage pattern, the usage of them, the relationship between the user and the GPTs or the gems. That graph is valuable.
Yeah, I think it is valuable. I mean, I think that the GPTs are interesting because you can create your own, but you still have to go there, and you kind of have to envision that you're doing something, and then you punch out and go to ChatGPT, surf down, find this, that, the other, and then execute, right, and use it. And that can be useful. Clearly, 1 million people have tried it, right? So that's there. But I'm pretty interested to see how gems flow through, right? Because gems are things that can pop up in your, in Google Docs, theoretically. We haven't, seen too much about what that is, but I can see how creating something that's in the workflow that you're working in and could be really, would really increase that overall usefulness. I mean, in general, Google has an advantage here over OpenAI because they already have workflow. You're already in it all the time. You're already using all of these tools. And so introducing these functions into those existing workflows is a lot easier than creating completely new workflows.
Yeah. And there were a couple of other things that were mentioned there. One is about just the sheer scale of the models. There's nothing that's going to slow that down necessarily. If the user data is if the user data is if the data is valuable enough to keep building the large models. I mean,
Yeah.
the scaling laws for Google are clearly well and trained. The other thing that I didn't want to lose is I personally prefer that voice. That
over the ChatGPT.
Yeah,
voice,
it gives me an instant mental model that this is a machine.
Yeah.
There's no, I have to think about this. There's no need to resist the emotional attachment that comes because it's so clearly a machine. And, you know, I don't think that makes it any less useful.
No.
I think it's just as useful, if not more so, because you have the strong signal that, I mean, the affordance is this is a machine.
Yeah.
Building AI responsibly means both addressing the risks and maximizing the benefits for people and society. We're improving our models with an industry standard practice called red teaming, in which we test our own models and try to break them to identify weaknesses. I'm excited to introduce LearnLM, our new family of models based on Gemini and fine-tuned for learning. Another example is a new feature in YouTube that uses LearnLM to make educational videos more interactive, allowing you to ask a clarifying question, get a helpful explanation, or take a quiz.
All of this shows the important progress we have made as we take a bold.
That's real game changing.
Yeah,
I don't
totally
use that
game
word.
changing.
I hate that word, but honestly, that really is, because now the dream of EdTech has basically just been bolted onto every single YouTube video. And one of the things that we've heard over and over and over again in learning and in education, we've heard it so many times, it's just a trope, which is you have to meet people where they are. Well, they're on YouTube.
Yeah, they're there
They're
watching
not,
the video.
They're not in your behind the paywall training video on an LMS somewhere. They're in YouTube. And now being able to stop and ask a question and have a generative AI back it up and then componentize it into these like Socratic method, these hints, like take me through it as if you're a tutor. Like I just see, why would you go anywhere else?
Yeah.
Bold and responsible approach to making AI helpful for everyone. To everyone here in Shoreline and the millions more watching around the world, here's to the possibilities ahead and creating them together. Thank you.
It's really interesting. I mean, the quantity, there's a lot more that happened at I/O, but that's a great overview. I do want to go back to one thing, which is like sort of the big one that they kind of went quickly through, which is the change to search. So what we're moving towards is generative search. You ask a put in a prompt, you're searching for something, and it generates an answer. And so it's an AI generated answer that's coming out through the response, and then there's a bunch of clicks. Now they've said that in their experiments in Google Labs that people are actually clicking through more often, which is sort of counterintuitive. So I'm curious to see whether that actually proves to be true. But there's a crisis for content creators. I mean, there's definitely an existential risk here that by generating an answer, people will get the answer they wanted, they won't click through. And Google has shaped the internet and shaped the economy of content creation by providing links to people, and they have definitely been the message, if you will, and shaped the entire internet medium, because people have shaped their content in order to rank high on the Google search. And we have no idea what that means in a generative answer. And if nobody's going to click out of it, it doesn't really matter. And it's a very large fundamental question. We've already seen lots of complaints about how Google's search has changed over the last couple of years. The algorithmic changes just in the last few months have made it have really changed things. I mean, we've personally felt it. You know, our click-throughs have totally changed because they've shifted everything in terms of how they pass things through, and it is really kind of worrisome of what would happen. You know, I know from my own personal experience, like you go to Amazon and there's an AI generated response based on reviews. scroll through and look at the reviews as much. If I see the answer I want, well, some people say this, but the concerns are that. I'm like, okay, that's good enough for me. Sometimes I'll go through because I actually want to read something in more depth. But that if that abstraction is good and it is useful, it will reduce the number of times people leave Google at all.